Pete Carroll Raiders are the worst Raiders team that I have ever laid eyes on since I have covered this team. The Pete Carroll Raiders are worse than Josh McDaniels, Antonio Pierce, John Gruden, Rich Bisaccia. I don't care who the hell it is. This is the worst Raiders team that I have seen on offense, on defense, and on special teams. If you have any faith in Pete Carroll and this regime, I feel really bad for you because the 2-8 Raiders, after losing that game 33-16 to the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football, it was the most Pete Carroll Raiders game I have ever seen in terms of it was them to a T. From the moment before he even kicked it off, you put in Caleb Rogers as an inactive because that type of game is the exact example why Pete Carroll should be fired as a head coach. And I don't think that he's going to get fired, but I actually hope that Pete Carroll steps down because when you look at that game again, from an entire sample size, that's a perfect game of where you could actually get Caleb Rogers some work because Will Putnam was bullied the entire game. So then maybe, I don't know, you give Caleb Rogers some shots. You got Kai Blue Kelly playing 3 quarters, and he's been absolutely terrible. And then you put Darian Porter in the fourth quarter. Having freaking Geno Smith throw the ball, the amount of times that the Raiders threw the ball today with Geno Smith and you going away from Ashton Jeanty, this is the epitome of what the Pete Carroll Raiders are. And it's a coaching staff that just shows you week in and week out. They're so stubborn. They care more about being right than what's doing right. And I mean this when I say this. This Raiders team I hate. I hate this Raiders team so much. I can't wait for this season to be over with. And I don't know how the hell you believe at all in Pete Carroll as a head coach. I mean it, Pete. I'm asking you. I'm asking you to step down, Pete. I can't do it anymore. I can't watch you anymore. Pete Carroll is an absolute effing joke when it comes to being the head coach of this team. So let me know down below. Is it time for Pete Carroll to just pack it in, man? I hate this football team. I hate the Las Vegas Raiders ran by Pete Carroll because it just shows me every single week that you don't make adjustments, that you're just going to do what you want to do. You don't put guys in the right situations, and you are a pathetic football team. This is a very poorly ran team, no doubt about it. Like Chip Kelly making the mistakes that he's making. Patrick Graham making the mistakes that they're making. This team making the coaching decisions that they make on a weekly basis. Like, I wish I could sit up here and actually give you some feedback on what the hell I just watched on Monday Night Football. But there's a reason why that the stadium was packed with Cowboys fans. There's a reason why nobody wants to watch this team. And it's because Geno Smith sucks. Our offensive line is a disgrace. Thank you so much, Brendan Carroll and Pete Carroll and this regime. Thank you so much to this defense that we got to watch week in and week out be just absolutely terrible. But I'm actually happy that the entire world got to see what the Pete Carroll Raiders looks like. And it looks like one of the worst football teams in the NFL. It looks like a franchise that's got no idea who their identity is, where they're going. And, I don't know if Mark's going to change anything. He's probably not going to change anything. But I'll say this right now. In your last 2 games, you've allowed 11 sacks and 41 pressures. Kai Blue Kelly was just absolutely picked on today. I don't have an answer of how to fix this team. And I say that because you're failing on offense, you're failing on defense, you're failing on special teams. And there's just so many things that are wrong with this organization right now. And I get it, Mark. You've tried, but you're hiring guys, Mark, that like, I want a coach that wants to make his legacy with the Raiders. Pete Carroll is not a good head coach with the Raiders. And I get Pete was once a really, really good coach. But if you can sit here and you can tell me that we shouldn't fire Pete, the only reason why you're saying that is because of his previous resume, because of previously what he did. Because if you're looking at the sample size of what we've seen from the moment that the Raiders hired Pete Carroll back in February, there's nothing about it that says that you should keep him. And the hard part is you're probably not going to fire him because he's Pete Carroll and because of what you've put on display. But I don't have an answer for you, man. This Raiders team is pathetic. It's just absolutely positively pathetic. And I hate watching the Raiders. I have such a better time when I don't have to watch this team. And I'm just done with the Geno Smith experiment. I'm done with the Pete Carroll Raiders. I mean it. I'm done with the Pete Carroll Raiders. And it's time for John Spytek to start answering some stuff too, because it can't only be on Pete. 42 pass attempts today for Geno Smith. How many rush attempts did we have? I mean, I'm not 42 pass attempts today for Geno Smith. And Ashton Jeanty had 6 carries for 7 yards. Raheem Mostert had 2 carries for 6 yards. I don't know how you think that that's a recipe for success. And I know you're not going to change because I don't think that you think that there's anything problematic with what you're doing. But Pete Carroll literally did say at halftime, it all starts with the running game. But, this is you showing that Chip's going to do what he wants to do, Chip. Geno said he wants to cut it loose. You let him cut it loose, and this was the output that you got. It was such a hard game, and it's such a frustrating game to watch that I don't have any takeaways in this game besides I hate watching the Pete Carroll Raiders. I don't blame fans for not wanting to watch the Pete Carroll Raiders because the Pete Carroll Raiders are worse than the Josh McDaniels Raiders. The Chip Kelly offense is worse than the Luke Getsy ran offense. Geno Smith is so bad, and yet we're going to not make him compete. I want you to not be a hypocrite, Pete. Please, for the love of God, don't be a hypocrite. Make guys earn their gig. Make guys earn their job. Because it's just going to get worse and worse, dude. It's just going to get worse and worse. Coming up next, though, let's go to some of the fans and how they're reacting to this Monday night debacle. This Monday night debacle where Geno Smith was pressured on 16 of 49 dropbacks. 9 different players recorded at least one pressure. This offensive line is a joke. You know what's not a joke, though? Our sponsor on today's program, Prize Picks. Shout out to them for making the Raiders game day somewhat watchable. The hard-hitting football action is even better on Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right, that never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app. Copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, whether it's me, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Join millions of users. Sign up for America's #1 fantasy app. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. I was right that Ashton Jeanty was going to have less than 61.5 rush yards today. I hate that I was right, but when you knew the offensive line was going to be what it was, when you knew the play design was going to be what it was, it is what it is now for the Raiders. The Raiders are going to Raider, and that means they're just not going to do what's smart. Sharif, 10 years, didn't draft a quarterback. This is the price. I mean, at this point, the other part of the equation is, do you trust Pete Carroll to draft a quarterback? I think Geno Smith next season is back if Pete's back. And if there is a silver lining, people are always like, Mitch, why would you want the Raiders to fire Geno Smith? We keep firing guys left and right, left and right. I want the Raiders to fire Pete Carroll because that tells me guaranteed Geno Smith's gone. If Pete Carroll's back next season, I honestly think Geno Smith's back next season. And that's just the God honest truth. Do I think firing a head coach year after year after year is a smart decision to make? No, of course I don't. But right now, I'm so desperate to move on from Geno Smith that if you told me the Raiders moved on from Pete Carroll, that tells me the Raiders move on from Geno Smith. And I'm down to move on from Geno. Because moving on from Pete Carroll also tells me that you're moving on from Chip Kelly, that you're cleaning house. And if we can find a better head coach, it's not going to be hard to do. I think that no matter what, I think I could identify 10 to 20 candidates right now better than Pete Carroll. And I'm not kidding when I say that. And if it's that easy to find a better candidate, it's not a matter of, man, we're doing the same thing again. We are doing the same thing again, but it's, if you could find a better quarterback, wouldn't you go out and go get one? If you could find a better head coach, wouldn't you go out and go get one? I don't know how you watch what Pete Carroll's done to this team and think that he's the right man for the job. Antonio, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Patrick Graham, Chip Kelly all need to be fired ASAP. And I don't blame anybody for wanting to feel this way. I don't, man. Like, because again, if you keep Pete Carroll, do you have like if I've learned anything from this organization, it's that if you keep Pete, Chip, and what they're doing, they're gonna just do what they want to do. Like, and I don't think that this organization is going to be an organization that drafts a quarterback. I really don't, man. And Gonzalez, how is that all Raider Nation knows what's wrong with the team, yet no one in the front office can figure it out? I don't have an answer for you, Gonza. And it's just a lack of attention to detail. It's you thinking that you're the smartest in the room and not willing to be able to say that, that you were wrong. And I get it. But my bigger fear right now is looking at that game, seeing them not play Caleb Rogers, seeing them not play Darian Porter for Kai Blue Kelly, seeing them, make Aiden O'Connell a healthy scratch, making Geno Smith throw the ball as much as they did, not playing Jeanty the way that they should have. That's an organization that's, I don't know if I want to give an organization like that the amount of money we have in salary cap. I don't know if I want to give this Raiders organization those 10 draft picks. I don't know if they're going to draft a QB. I honestly think if they have the number 1 overall pick, I don't know if they would draft a quarterback. And that, because I think that makes me want to move on from this regime. They're doing what they want to do. Nico, how about this? Shedeur is starting against us next week. I hope he destroys us. Need a higher draft pick. I will be live next week. At least we get to watch the Raiders up against Shedeur Sanders. I hope Shedeur Sanders gives us a good game against Geno Smith. That's all I'm going to say. I hope we get a good game next week. I really, really do, man. Hope we get a good game next week because I miss having a good game. And if you don't know, we will be live, obviously, for the Raiders game next week, Week 12, against the Cleveland Browns. So my question to you is this. Who should start for the Raiders at quarterback next week against Cleveland? Who do you want it to be? Do you want it to be Geno Smith? I know you don't want it to be Geno Smith. You want it to be Aiden O'Connell? Kenny Pickett? Cam Miller? Who do you want it to be? At this point, I just don't want it to be Geno. And what's crazy is I bet you it is going to be Geno. I bet you they freaking roll out Geno Smith. And when they roll out Geno Smith, I just want all y'all to take a deep breath. And when they roll out Geno Smith, I just want y'all to be like, that's why they should move on from Pete Carroll. And it's if the Raiders start Geno Smith next week against the Browns, I'm all in on fire Pete Carroll. Because, again, firing Pete Carroll tells me that you're moving on from Geno Smith. Firing Pete means you're moving on from Chip, you're moving on from Geno, and you're moving on from everybody. And to anybody saying it's not Pete Carroll's fault, grow up, man. You're the head coach of a football team that's failing this bad in so many different areas. You know what I mean? You're failing in this many areas, and it's got to fall on the shoulders of Pete Carroll. It's got to fall on the shoulders of this leader. And it's just, I don't know how you say it's not on Pete, right? Because Pete Carroll, it's the offensive line. It's Geno Smith. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I didn't think the Raiders would break me this early. I actually hate how annoyed I am at this Raiders team, but I'm annoyed because I think the issues are so clear, and the Raiders just can't see them, and it's right in front of their face. So, Pete. Oh, Pete. Please hang it up, Pete. Please, Pete Carroll. I'm asking you to hang it up. I'm asking you to hang it up. Hang it up, Pete.